Welcome to Art Loves Fashion. I'm your host, Sharonda Irvin. I'm an image consultant, professional developer, art curator and collector, a wife and a mom. This show, Art Loves Fashion, is about, you guessed it, art, love, and fashion. We'll be meeting new people, trying interesting things, and hopefully learning something new. Sounds kind of vague, right? That's because I want you to join me on Sundays at 5 o'clock as we take a journey of all things creative and beautiful with art, loves, fashion. Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to Art Loves Fashion. I am your host, Sharonda Irving, and welcome to a conversation of all things beautiful and creative. You might hear a little bit of an echo, but don't pay any attention to that. We are streaming live. You know, being that it's a live stream, wherever we are live, that's where it goes down. So just roll with us. I have an amazing guest today. But before I call her in, because I'm going to give her the full time to share her story and to share, drop her gems on the show today. So I'm going to really quickly, you know what? Let's do this. I want to introduce her because I think that the fashion segment she might be interested in. So I'm going to introduce to you my guest today. She is an author. Her name is Brandy Forte, and she is just dropped her third novel called Stronger. So I want to welcome Brandy and thank her for being on the show today.
Hey, thank you so much. Welcome. My name is Brandy Forte, and I am a 4-time published author. This is my 4th book, which is Stronger. It's based on a true story. It takes place in the DMV, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much, Sharonda.
Oh, thank you for coming. So the funny thing is, well, we'll get into like the backstory behind the show and everything, but I called you because I wanted to ask you, and be honest, because that's the only way I know how to do things. Are you a Beyonce fan?
And not really.
Okay, all right, cool. Anyway, so today,
I love Beyonce. I respect her, but I'm like a Mary J, Erykah Badu.
Fan. Okay, I feel you. I can definitely get with that. The reason why I was asking is because for the fashion segment, I wanted to talk about. So I talked about it on my Instagram live yesterday, but Beyonce just dropped her third collaboration with Adidas yesterday. And what was interesting about it is that about 3 weeks ago, I talked about this collection. Now, I wouldn't consider myself a fan of hers. However, I respect the hustle. I respect her grind. I think her creative team is like amazing and unmatched, right? And I'm also very, very happy to always see Black girls winning, right? So, I actually reviewed the collection from last week. So I happened to be in New York and like doing my morning run, and I see this girl walking down the street. It's early. She got an Adidas bag, and she is like walking like, yes. And I happened to look up, and there's Beyonce. Now, had I not really noticed the girl with the bag, I wouldn't have made the connection. And then I happened to see Beyonce has on a black thing. And I'm like, oh, wait, I think I saw a picture of Beyonce with this black bodysuit. And then it dawned on me. Beyonce, basically, she dropped the, drop one back, several months ago. And everybody, her rollout of that was amazing, right? Delivering the big trunks to all the celebrities, people who you love. You're like watching with bated breath. And everybody's like, has their finger on the trigger for the first drop, the burgundy and gold, the Redskins
Yeah.
collection.
Yeah.
then second time, and which is the one last week that I talked about, she dropped, that was like called Drip 2. And I was like,
Uh,
okay, I did a review on it just because, again, I feel like for her fans, for people who admire Black Girl Magic, and then people who are into athleisure, like it's worth a look. So
yeah.
yesterday I happened to see, so I said, let me go in and see. I got a couple pieces because I happened to be in the right place at the right time because you know her stuff sells like out like that. And so on my Instagram yesterday, I gave a quick review. So I want to share with you guys the pieces that are like I think are great, what my overall impression of the collection is, and I will leave it up to you. What I will say is this: even if you're not a Beyonce fan, I feel like it's a moment in time where we are celebrating the things and the contributions that Black women have always been making. And I feel like it's a moment in time. Like, I'm down with celebrating her Ivy Park collection. Number one, because of the boss moves that she made with this. She took her brand back from Topshop because of the sexual misconduct allegations from the owner of Topshop, and then did a remix and figured out how to bring it back out. So I feel like that's a boss move. She talks about being in control of your own destiny and what you have going on. And so I celebrate that. And also, I'm a lover of athleisure. So, what I think about the line, there's a couple of pieces that are look the exact same from Drip 2. So if you didn't get a chance to see Drip 2 or get anything from Drip 2, not to worry, you can get it on Drip 3. The difference is this collection is called the Black Pack. So everything that she dropped in, not everything, but everything is black. And the accent color is what they're calling Mesa, but it's like a brownish tan color. The brownish tan color, I feel like for brown girls, I don't really like the shade of it. We're having a nude moment, we're having a brown moment. People are into all these neutral colors. My personal opinion, I don't know if I like that particular shade, but it might look good on some people. But this is what I would say. She thinks about the curvy girls. She thinks about the girls with the body because those athleisure pieces and those stretch pieces, honey, have stretch. So, she's giving you old school body magic. I don't know if y'all remember that from back in the day, but I don't know if you guys remember that, but I actually bought the I need to figure out the word for it. How am I going to be an image consultant and don't know the word for it? But it's the all-in-one bodysuit, the pants bodysuit, and it's got cups, and it's a sweetheart neckline, and it's got the logos on the straps. I actually got that one because the detailing in it is really, really well thought out, very nice and well done. And again, it's nice. Like when I tried it on, it smoothed the sister out. So the crop tops, I'm saying for people in real life, everybody doesn't have a Beyonce shape, and your midsection may be, not what you want to highlight. Or maybe you like, hey, let's put it out here. But the crop top is very, very cropped. It's like almost right up underneath your bust. If you are heavy chested, try it on. That's what I'm gonna say. You might be into the like under boob look where it's sitting up a little bit and you got a little lacy bra up underneath of it, but I would say try it on. So I think overall though, I would say for the price point of it and just the whole iconic moment of it all, I think it's worth a piece or two. Get you a t-shirt just to be able to say, if you're not a Beyonce fan, I say get you a t-shirt, the little boxy ones that's kind of cropped. That's cute, especially if you don't want to show your stomach. Put a long sleeve tank top one underneath of it, like she did in Beachella, because she definitely had on. Beyonce be wearing Beyonce be wearing waist cinchers and
Yeah.
over top. So get like her, get a little crop top, put your waist cincher on and a t-shirt on underneath of it. But I think it's worth the coin. I think, representing all things that Black women have going on, I would say I would say it's a yes. So there you have it. That was my quick fashion segment because I want to give my sister Brandy Forte lots of time for us to talk about her new book and her journey to becoming um, an author. And it's been quite an interesting and very well-rounded journey. So I am so happy again, so happy that you are here. So let's kick off. You know what, we do our transition music. So let's take our transition music real quick. Hmm. I know Afiba laughs at me because I do unexpected transitions, but we're gonna make it work.
Yeah.
I like it sets the mood for the conversation. So again, if you happen to be joining me on Instagram Live, I encourage you to go onto my Facebook page so that you can see the front facing side of the show so you can see the conversation between Brandy and I. There's a couple of our friends that we have in common who are joining me on Instagram Live. They need to come over to the Facebook page so that they can see you guys. And if you happen to miss today's show, you can always come on to my YouTube channel and watch the reruns. And also, if you're friends with Brandy on Facebook, she's also having a watch party, so you can watch it from her page as well. And your Facebook page is what?
Brandy Forte.
Brandi Forte. So, Brandy, so you are a full-time author, or you're an author, but also a full-time entrepreneur. But
Yeah.
when I met you, you were an educator at that time. So, talk a quick minute about the journey. You're from California.
Yes.
You came to DC to go to school, and then you evolved into an author and an entrepreneur. Talk a little bit about your journey to getting to here.
Wow. So I'll give you the
I know
short
that's a
version.
lot, right?
That's two books. That's in free, and then that's in stronger, right? So
I
it's
know
thick.
that's right.
So I'll give you the short version. I came to Howard, just the California black hippie in '96. I fell in love with Howard. It was like a black heaven. It indeed was the Mecca. And, I told my family, I was like, I don't care how cold it is. This is where we need to be. And it was just so liberating. It was so beautiful. Went to Howard, graduated, got my degree in journalism. I had these great, um, you know, I had so much ambition and these dreams. And I moved to New York City, worked as a reporter, and as a junior editor at the Source magazine, which was really popping back then.
Shout out to the Source. I know a couple people who worked for the Source magazine back then.
Yeah. So, and that was 98, 2000, 2001. And so I worked at the Source, and I, was just living my life. And then I was like, I want to be an author. I want to be an author. And so, long story short, I just had this premonition that I knew I wasn't going to be at the Source long. And what happened was 9/11. 9/11 happened. I was supposed to be in New York. I was in LA, promoting my first book, which is Drama Girl. And when 9/11 happened, the night before, I had this premonition that I wasn't going back to New York. And I tell my family, I'm done with New York. I'm not going back. And they're like, are you crazy? And I'm like, I guess I'm crazy. And I had a flight to go out that morning, like 6 o'clock on 9/11, back to New York. And I canceled my flight. And, unfortunately, one of the worst tragedies, in the United States happened.
Wow.
And that led me to coming back to DC to live. Couldn't find a journalism job. They was trying to pay pennies to be a reporter. And I was like, oh my God. And that led me to teaching.
Well, wait, hold on. First of all, I just want to I like to like put a little punctuation mark when I hear people say things that I think are really important. And I want to just put a punctuation mark on the fact that you said I had this feeling and I actually honored and went with what I felt, right? There's a lot of times, especially as women, we don't go with our gut instinct. And
Mhm.
you went with your gut instinct, and not only did you um, avoid being caught in the midst of some really craziness, um, because that day, like you probably weren't in any of the like vicinity, but the whole entire city was on shutdown and people was taking people like 10, 12 hours just to get from one place to another to get home. So you would have been caught in the middle of all that
So,
craziness.
so where the source was like a block away from the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
I would fre- I would frequent the World Trade to meet my friends in the city, and I wouldn't have survived because I would have hyperventilated. Okay, my friends were trapped underground.
Wow.
Mm, yeah,
Wow.
that like God knew what He was doing when He navigated me out of that.
Mm.
And henceforth, I'll never forget my grandmother was like, "So where you gonna go?" And I was like, LA is not for me. I just felt like I, I just was too radical for LA, right? And I
Mm.
didn't want to be in Hollywood. And so she showed me this picture of DC and it said writers go east. And there was a whole bunch of writers and educators in Adams Morgan. And I came back thinking I was going to pursue this grandiose writing career, and it didn't happen that way. The only jobs that I could get were teaching writing or teaching English. And I was like, oh my gosh, I never wanted to be a teacher. But in that moment, I found purpose. Like, why do I keep getting these teaching jobs? And I learned that I had to pay it forward. And I've spent, even though I'm an entrepreneur, I have a nonprofit, I've spent almost 2 decades working with young people from the inner city, from the hood,
Mm.
just like myself. So,
Mm. Okay. So you diverted to Washington, D.C., and then you became an educator, and now you have this a nonprofit, which you talk about in the book.
yes.
And so, um, what, but between, how did you get to the nonprofit? Because you also did some other things. You didn't go from teaching straight to the nonprofit.
No, I didn't. It's like going from, you know, shallow water to 12 feet, right? So I went from teaching and, I love the young people. They were definitely um, a challenging population with behavior issues, and it was almost like I just hopped right into the deep end because I had no experience with special education, but those are the only opportunities I was getting. And I was like, man, excuse my French, these kids is bad as hell, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, oh my God, what am I being punished? And but I realized that I had so much to give to them, right? But from teaching, I realized in teaching that I was just bossy, that it was hard for me to get along with the principals. I had my own vision of what education should look like and what being a student should look like. And it just wasn't working. And so I went back into my profession. I became a speechwriter for the president of Prince George's Community College, who was a woman, the first woman at that time, and
Hmm.
that was good. But then I realized again that I wanted to do something different. I just, was nosy, curious. And then it was this brother named Senator Barack Obama who was running for president.
How about that?
And I was like, oh my God, he is going to be the first Black man who's going to be the president of the United States. I want to be a part of this movement. And so I applied to be a fellow and I was selected and I dropped my good paying job, became a fellow, was on the trail in the trenches. I worked as an organizing and communications fellow. And it just was so beautiful, right? And then I realized, I have reality. I was a single mom, had a baby boy, and the White House demands, once President Obama got in office, those White House demands would not allow me to be a real mother to my son. And so I had to pick a choice because I
Mm.
didn't have a whole lot of support on the East Coast, right? I wasn't back in Cali. And so my supervisor at the time, he was like, if you can't work in the White House, I'm going to put you with an organization that's carrying out White House initiatives. And so he deemed me to the lines of concern men. And I worked as an advisor and as a director of education, right? We still dealing with education. And so I learned so much working for those brothers. That was the first time in my life that I had worked for all Black men. All my supervisors were Black
That's interesting. That could be a whole nother show.
men. They look good and smell good and they would fly. And basically, I took what I learned working for the nonprofit and I was like, I can start my own. And hence, Amala Lives. 2010, I kicked off Amala Lives. And
Amala
then,
lives, and that's the nonprofit that you're still running today, and it's been up and running for 10 years.
yes, I've been working for myself for 10 years. Can you
That's
believe it?
amazing. That was amazing, amazing, amazing. And like I feel like we could talk probably about just being a woman and running a nonprofit for 10 years and being a single mom. Like that's a whole nother like bucket of a show. But today we're talking about you as Brandy the author, right? So yes.
Absolutely.
Of it, and I think Afiba's going to show a copy of it. Um, so you talk about first of all, did you get to meet Barack Obama? We just got to know.
So I never got to meet Barack Obama, like handshake him. But when I was a fellow, he came to our cohort and spoke to us.
Mm-hmm.
So did I get to see him face to face? But I didn't get any cameos. I was as close to him probably as you would be to a teacher in a classroom. So
Okay.
when we were trained at Hampton Institute, because it's not the real, HU, when we were trained at Hampton Institute in Oak State, um, President Obama came there and, we went through a training.
Okay. Okay. And I will say that he is even more magnetic and charismatic in person than he is on TV. Like the energy that people get from seeing him on TV, it's like times 10 when you're in the room with
Yes, I
him.
felt like I was like with a disciple, if not Jesus. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell me, one of the things I always like to talk to my guests about who come on the show that have like walked away from a good government job, as I say, or like this full time employment into following a passion of theirs. What was that like? Or what was the thing? It sounds like you already are one of those people who like you get the feeling you like I'm gonna go for it. Was it that same feeling, or were you more hesitant this time? Like, what was that like?
No, it was like, and I talk about it in Stronger. The first, I would say, 5 chapters of Stronger is literally giving people a blueprint to entrepreneurship. It is
Mhm,
showing you literally my launch pad, me
mhm,
only having $750, me not being born into necessarily a wealthy family, me learning how to grind from scratch, from the business license to the whole nine. So it was liberating. Um, it was liberating, but God, I knew it was right for me because God made so many provisions. He made so many provisions from aligning people in my life
mhm,
who worked with me in the past to make sure that I was good when I
mhm,
started my business. So it
mhm,
was like, yes, this is where I'm supposed to be.
mhm. Because you talk about in the book where you went to see someone who you had known from the past, a black woman, and you asked her for office space, and
Yeah.
she put you in the office for free.
Yes. So Miss Umi is still my mentor.
Okay.
Okay. Shout out to Mama Gail. I love her. If you're familiar with Uptown, Mama Gail is like literally a staple. She's a trailblazer. And so Miss Umi has always been my angel. Like I felt like she was like my mother on the East Coast. And
Mhm,
she just centered me. And when I was actually doing work for the MOV, according to the book, she was actually watching me. Like, and it was like
mhm,
came to her, it was like you're ready. And she put me in this plush office. It was large, it was spacious, for free. And basically her whole thing was do your thing, sis, and pay it forward. I'll never forget it.
mhm, mhm. I think that that's really another like interesting point, um, about how sometimes when, and they talk about this on social media, but one thing that I enjoyed about your book is that this is a pre-social media hustle, right? And those of
Yeah.
us who have been entrepreneurs, in any aspect of the word, those of us who have been entrepreneurs pre-social media, there's a whole different kind of skill set that you have to develop in order to be successful in that way. So I enjoyed reading that. Like, it is hand to hand, walking to people, talking to people, selling yourself. And I say that to say, though, that what you said about she was watching me. People on social media are watching, and they talk about that. Like, sometimes you don't know who you're being noticed by, so you got to kind of stay on your grind and keep doing your thing, knowing with that faith that you had of like persevering, and that God and the universe will align the assets to help you propel you forward. And that's kind of like what happened.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I love how you say pre-social media. That was a real grind. It wasn't Google. You had to go to the library. You had to get the yellow pages. They don't know about the yellow pages, like the real yellow pages. And you had to pull up on folks. And it was about
Mhm.
reputation and how you conducted yourself, those type of
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah, that was very real.
And now, I was reading the part about how you set up your business, and it's not easy. And it's not easy when you do it now with technology. It is really like, to Howard prepared me for getting my business license. Or anybody who has been to an HBCU, and we know about standing in those long lines and getting the right now.
Yes. Yes. And I think honestly, DC government, child, DC government is just like getting validated. I swear. And I feel sorry, honestly, for those who are getting businesses during this COVID movement because everything is online. So you can't even talk to nobody. You know what I'm saying? You don't even have a plug that remembers you, you know,
Mhm.
and you're dealing with a computer, right? So things
Mhm.
are definitely different.
But you know what? I'm gonna tell you what. Being like you said, be making connections, because that almost happened to me with my daughter, and I start emailing everybody. And the lady called me like, and she became my angel that helped me get some things going for what I needed through DC government for her. So you can still do it, but you gotta you gotta persevere and talk to people and really get out there. But so I wanna push through to, so you I want to talk about the art of it all,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
You went to school for journalism. You worked
Yeah.
at the Source magazine. You were a, communications fellow, but you wrote a fictional work of art. How
Yeah.
do you tap into the artistic side of writing?
I think writing, everybody, when you're growing up, everybody has like an aspiration. You know, when you're little, kids would say, I want to be a dancer, I want to be a singer, I want to be a basketball player. When I was 5, I was like, I want to be a writer.
Hmm.
And I didn't know what that looked like. And people didn't know what that looked like. And when I got into middle school, I discovered Maya Angelou and Nikki Giovanni and Intozaki Shangi. And I was glued to the words made sense for me. And when I got to Howard, I discovered spoken word and poetry and being a backpacker and performing with Raheem Devon at Bar None, and all you got to pay is $3 to get in, and the drinks is $2. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, hey.
Yes. On Q Street. You get what I'm saying? Before gentrification, when you were scared to walk through those hoods, right? Um, Writing was always in me, but so was survival. I had to survive. And surviving, of course, comes with a career. If you have a degree, you find a career that will sustain you. I always tell people you try to take the money from your career if it's not your dream and invest it into your dream. And so I would say my dollars, I would say my pennies, put them to the side because I knew it was going to be a launch board, right? My creative process as a writer is about mood and atmosphere. I'm a Cancer.
Mhm.
I'm moody anyhow. But
Mhm.
naturally moody, right? Um, but I believe in creating an atmosphere. When I say I'm gonna write a book, I'm creating an atmosphere, I'm creating an area either in my house
Mhm.
or a local coffee shop. I always find some type of coffee shop. It just kind of centers me and puts me in a space. And I create a vision board, almost like a storyboard, for my book with timelines and deadlines. However, it didn't work like that with Stronger. It worked like that with all my books, but with Stronger, it was different. I started writing Stronger in 2016. It was supposed to be a romance novel. I had big dreams for it. 2017, my husband got murdered. Um,
Mm.
took me a while to just grieve. I didn't know how to feel. It was so traumatic for me and my children.
Ooh,
Then
my condolences.
yeah, last year, I got sick with sepsis out of nowhere. Um, almost died.
Yeah, I
Had
know
to,
about sepsis. It's
yeah,
serious.
yes. I go to the ER for stomach pains. They tell me I have sepsis and
Your
a
body.
kidney stone, and I'm like, life really happened for me. And so I
Mm.
had to allow myself not only to heal physically, but to heal therapeutically.
Mhm.
And once I came out of surgery last year and I let myself heal, COVID hit, and I just heard a voice that say, "Okay, you got 90 days to knock this book out." And from March of this year to June, I wrote every day and every night, and I didn't stop until it was done. When those 90 days was up, Stronger was completed. It was so much heaviness lifted off of me. It is a fiction book just because I changed the names. I know everybody
Mhm.
wants to know that, right? I changed it to protect folk, but all of the events are
Mhm.
real.
Mhm. Now, which first of all, let's pause for all of like when you say real life happened, like those are some real life events. Like we're not talking no made for TV stuff.
Yeah,
That's
not at all.
real life stuff.
Yes,
So
yes.
first of all, sending love and light and strength for all of that because
And
people
thank
don't come back from stuff like that.
no, they don't.
So I honor you definitely on that. Because when you become an adult, you start to see like when people be like real life steps in, you don't know what they mean
No, you don't.
until you
Until
get
it happens.
real life stuff. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but I really like that whole like make a space for yourself, create a creative space, have your vision. The vision board is almost like a map and a plan for where you want to go, to get the creative juices flowing, and then just like going with it. So now the second part of that is, um, once you wrote this book, is there more to this story? What's going to happen next? Like, it's your fictional, it's the fictionalized account of your real life, but you're an artist. Is there more to this story? Is there going to be a sequel, or do we gotta wait to see like,
So, okay, so that's
or
good.
are you like, ooh, let me just
So,
have
Free,
a,
look, Free is my third book, right? So, Stronger is actually the sequel. Stronger is the sequel to Free, right? And everybody's asking, like, I thought once I wrote Stronger that I was done in that area, but now I am thinking of a trilogy.
yeah.
It is more. It's levels to it. Um, so however I'm guided intuitively. But what's next for me, honestly, is a screenplay getting stronger to Netflix. So
Mhm.
that's what I'm working on immediately.
Okay, I'm here for you. If you need a stylist, I know you got a stylist, but you might need more than one.
Yeah, you hear that, Tina? Yes. So
So the other side of this that I wanted to tap into, right? This the strand of art. Like I was excited to have you on the show because you fit the bill for two different things: the art, but then the book is it's a love story. There's some tragedy there. There's some business tips there, but there's a love story that runs through this. And
yeah.
so, as I was reading it,
uh,
I was kind of, I want to see my question. There were some things that you talked about your love, who eventually became your husband. Early on,
So
you
you read. You was reading. Okay, Sharon.
no, now let me, like I said, I only know how to tell the truth. I got through a lot of it, but remember, you were like, this book is long.
Yeah, it is.
So I
I
haven't finished it yet, but I did read what I read. Like I did look down like, how many pages is this? But you talk about in the beginning, you talk about walking into this broken heart. And I guess we got to read the book before to know about what happened with the broken heart.
oh, so yeah, so you would technically it would be good for you to read free to understand how I was broken. And then I got stronger with stronger. And so Dream, my main character, she had pretty much went through, X, Y, and Z in a previous relationship.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that completely closed to love, but she was guarded and stronger.
Yeah, yeah. And so as I was thinking about that, right, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to go get free because you talked a lot about it. Like it took a long time for you to be fully available to the new guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
But funny, okay, so I have an extra copy of Free, so I'll make sure you get that this week. So what's funny about Free is everybody wanted to know like what's next. When I wrote Free, I was actually going through everything and I was like, I don't know what's next. But when I wrote Free, I talked about Kenya Harris.
Mhm.
And Kenya Harris came into my life when I was a fellow with President Obama. And he was a cool guy. And I think the quote in Strongest, like he helped me to recover from a past lover. And essentially, I didn't I didn't think too deep, but in my subconscious, I knew it was going to be much bigger
Yes.
than the surface.
So the person who was your the lover that you had before you met Kenya, is that your son's father?
Yes, and
Oh.
that's Solomon. He's in Free, and everybody was like, "You can't get no worse than Solomon, child." Yeah, Kenya Harris gave Solomon a run for his damn money. Shout out to DC. DC brothers. Oh Lord. When you come to Howard, they tell you do not talk to the locals. That's one of the first things I learned.
Now interestingly, I read that on a social media thread, and did not have that experience.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
actually married to a guy from DC, and we've been married for 20 years. Or, yeah, we made 20 years this year. So
Well,
I don't know. Nobody told me that.
you can. And my assistant actually gave me some history. My assistant is Kiosha.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so Kiosha told me that. But I do remember you being married when we were teaching together. I do remember that.
yeah.
So, I think the one thing I love about Stronger in women and men can take notes because it's just not a book for women, right? I'm
Mhm.
speaking for a person in real life who was voiceless. I gave his story according to what I could recollect and what I knew what he wanted people to hear. You get what I'm saying? And it's Black love from an urban lens, but it deals a lot with mental health. It deals with a lot on how people deal with trauma, um,
Mhm.
and how you're raised, how it affects who you are as an adult and your choices, whether it be relationship or career. Um, and how a lot of times when you're just young and dumb, and you just want to experience life. And then what happens when real life happens? You know what I'm saying? Children come, real human beings who really need you. And so there's so many gamuts, but it truly is a Black love story. It truly is.
Yeah, because the thing about it is that the truth of the matter, I think, what you're speaking on is like Black love stories aren't always picture perfect like TV, because as Black people, knowing that we have the kinds of traumas that we have, we bring those into the relationship. So our love stories sometimes look a little different than what Hollywood would tell you they
Yeah.
look. And
Yes.
like we talk about his battles with alcohol.
Yes. And drag.
See, I didn't get to that part.
Yeah. So
Yes,
yeah.
I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. When you first mentioned it, I was like,
Yeah. And I know you were like, what was he smoking if you got to that
I
chapter?
already knew. I like when he said I've been smoking a cigarette. I said, oh no.
And Dream is so stupid and green. She like cigarette, like, what kind of cigarette you smoking? Because,
Yeah,
I
I just
smoked
kept thinking.
Newport while I was at Howard. So I've never seen a Newport do that. Child. And I remember, shout out to Philippa when she had Passion Studios on Georgia Avenue.
Yes, that was
And
one of my very good friends.
yes,
Yeah.
and what was it? Dwight. When I first came to Howard, Dwight was there. And he was in my hair before Phil. And Dwight always talked about the Love Boat. And I'm just thinking of the Love Boat. I'm from Cali. I'm thinking about Love Boat. But
No,
I'm not,
no.
I'm gonna say the joke was off the boat. I never knew what that was. But woo, and stronger, honey. You learn a lot.
First of all, I have to say, so I didn't know that you knew Philippa. Like she's one of my really good friends. I gotta like, tag her like, hey Phil, we have
Yeah.
another. We have quite a few now, sort of overlapping circles. That's so funny. But when I read that part and I read your response, I knew that the book was a fictionalized account, and I thought to myself, did she really respond? So you're saying you did.
Yes. Yes.
Ah,
So ask the question.
so for people, so I will give like the teaser. So in the book, um, sort of early on in the relationship, you
Mm,
know that he is a really heavy drinker. You're like noticing that when he is really intoxicated, that his relationship, his behavior changes. He's really aggressive and that kind of thing. And then there's a point in the book when you discover that he is using
mhm,
drugs. In DC, we call it boat or dippers, which is PCP or
mhm.
whatever, the wet.
That,
Yeah.
so,
What, how do you kind of kept pushing through in the relationship, and you've already said he became your husband. How do you get over that hump?
you know, because I was young and dumb, because I was, dreams. If if people pay attention, Dream is superficial when it comes to success. That is her target.
Success.
Her kids and success means the most to her. And pretty much the love came second. Like like the love was a comfort, but she had been through so much, it was almost like being successful and being career oriented was a deflector of stuff that she didn't want to deal with. So she wasn't ready to deal with Kenya's demons, but there were so many other good things about him that she just didn't want to throw him away. And what you'll find out in the book was like Kenya was kind of like Dream felt like Kenya was an angel for her at one of her weakest points, but she ended up being an angel for him. So it was kind of like that. It goes back to that alignment. And I just remember, Kenya always saying like, you help extended my life. So I think it was something much deeper than both of them even understood. And Dream just, she was she's a romantic. Like, things are gonna get better. That was her attitude. They're gonna get better. He's gonna get better. And then by the time she gets pregnant with Dynasty, she's like, this is my second child. Like, this has to get better. Like,
Mhm.
I'm rooting for it. I didn't position myself first all the way. Like, he has to get better. And so what you'll see with Kenya, and some brothers can relate, when you come from a toxic environment where all you see is everybody getting high, everybody getting drunk, everybody selling drugs, people not doing the right thing, and it's like you don't see the right thing until you become an adult. How do you erase the past? How do you
Mhm.
navigate away from that?
Mhm.
So it's deep.
So it is deep. And I think that that's a really, you said another thing that's really super important um, about, and I think that sometimes, and again, social media is such an interesting thing to me because you see people put up memes or put up these posts, and I guess they hit different depending on where you are in your life. But some of them, sometimes social media is sort of like glossed over.
Hmm.
Said that you were focused on your children and success. And when we look at social media right now, there's this big thing of like goal getter and
Yeah,
ride,
you see?
grind, and all of the things that we do need to keep us encouraged as entrepreneurs. But then there is this other voice on social media and inside of you that is saying, you got to fix some stuff.
Hmm.
That-
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's funny because, you know, I'm an analog girl in the digital world. So it took me a while to really get with this whole social media because I always felt like I was so authentic. And I felt like if I got into the social media scene, um, I wouldn't be the same. You know what I'm saying? I have a marketing team, and I will tell authors out there, you gotta get you a team, even if it's one person and you. You know what I'm saying? You have to get people who are experts that can help you with marketing, that can help you with booking, that can help support you if you're serious about your craft. But one person that I kind of relate to a little bit is Super Scent. And I watch her. I watch her professionally, and I watch how she is with her kids, and I watch how she is with her relationships. And I laugh to myself because I see so much of my old self in her, even though she's a multimillionaire off the crayon case. I see what she's kind of doing wrong. You get what I'm saying? And so, once again, the book Stronger is so juicy. It's so much tea. And even though it's big, you want to be nosy, don't you? You want to see what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with a thick book. I like thick book. I love reading, so
If it was boring, you'd have a problem, right?
right. Then I'm like, but I'm weird in that way. Like I get invested, and when it's boring, I'm just angry, but I have to finish it. But I'm definitely pulled into like I mean, he's so the Kenya is so supportive and has all these great qualities, but then he also has like these like fatal flaws.
Sabotage. He will sabotage. Like, life will be great if you read the book. And it's so funny because my manager, when he finished, before the book even went to print, he's from Jersey like you. And he sent me a message and it said bipolar one and bipolar two. Bust out laughing. And then he called me. He was like, yo, I don't smoke cigarettes. I want to smoke a cigarette now. I was rooting for Kenya. Come on, Kenya. You know, fatal flaws. And I think that's what makes Dream so hooked. She almost becomes addicted to that dysfunctionalism because she's not dysfunctional, but I think she becomes she anticipates the drama after a while. And it's just like, you ever pay attention to Black couples from the past? Like, you might have that inner uncle, you know that they probably be fighting at home or they be falling out, but they're poised when they come around, and you know if that uncle drink that liquor, it's gonna clear the whole King is gonna clear it out.
Right, right. Air all the like the poise is done. They like, here
Yeah.
we go.
Yes, yes.
So first of all, I am ecstatic for, and I should have said like this is fourth,
Four,
your
number four.
fourth novel, and so when I met you, you had already written your first book.
Yeah, it was my first book.
Yeah, and so like I wanted to congratulate you on just kind of not only just like being a full-time entrepreneur, but like continuing and pushing. Because I remember when you were like, yeah, I'm an author, and I was like, oh, okay, that's great. And like here you are all these years later, like still really out here doing it. And right now you're on your like virtual book tour and still working to get it out there, and like so I'm definitely gonna post it on my social media so all 10 of my followers
Mhm.
can see it. And you are on, how do they get the book?
So please order the book on Amazon. You can get it via Kindle, and you can get it in paperback. And if you have Prime, you'll get your book in 2 days. I do autograph copies at www.brandyforte.com. So if you're in the DMV, I do once a week deliveries where I sign your book. You get to see me, take a picture,
So
and get your
with
book.
the mask on.
Yes. Be cute, take a picture and tag something. So definitely Amazon.com, BrandyForte.com. I'm on Facebook under Brandy Forte, and I'm on Instagram under author entrepreneur Brandy.
Hmm. So, Ru, how's your son doing? Because your son is in the book, and like, son is King is his name in the book. He
Yeah.
is definitely, like you said, you were focused on career and child. So, and you have a second child now.
Yes. So you gotta get further in the book.
I know, right? So, Brandy
So you
Forte,
got King.
you have a
So
second child.
yeah, so in the book, so it's King and Dynasty. Um, King is now 16 in real life, and Dynasty is 9. And
Oh,
um, they are like the coolest, baddest kids. They are like they're like so like they've been here before. And I just, I love them dearly. They're both athletic. Dynasty is a gymnast. King is a boxer. He's getting ready to um, become amateur. So
oh,
it's just crazy, right? Because
oh.
they're like kids in this book, and now they're like, my son's about to graduate. So yeah,
Yeah. So now you're an entrepreneur as well as a mom, and so that whole driven mentality of like getting shit done, which in the book, like you said, you give the blueprint, but the hustle is sold separately. We were talking about that off air. Like, here's how you do it, but the hustle is sold separately. And now and then adding in like being a mom. So, kudos to you for like really, really being, getting it done, getting it popping.
yeah, it's definitely not easy. I always tell mothers, still time for yourself, still time. I have to still time. My kids have my time up, but there's a certain part where I just shut down. I'm like, okay, it's me time, y'all. Y'all, I done y'all all day. Give me 30 minutes.
Yes, yes. So my final question, and I didn't really think about this. I probably did think about this, but so are you, because the show is art, love, and fashion. So we talked about the art, we talked about the love going into the book. Are you gonna be open to love after all of what has happened and all of life's twists and turns? Are you gonna be open to love again after this?
So I think that's why the trilogy is coming, because
Oh,
and that's why I want you to read Stronger. There is a character that comes in and out.
is it
A
the
strong
character? Is it the character that you introduced like kind of early on?
Roca.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
Roka, honey. What happened was Roka, he's in and out of the book in
Yeah.
Strong Love.
Yeah.
And when you get towards the end, he has a strong presence.
Ooh.
And that's gonna be very Jeezy versus Gucci, very tense. So
Uh-oh.
yeah, it's
Let
gonna
me
be very
go to my, I'm reading it on my phone, on my Kindle, on my phone. So let me go back and finish reading because I'm like, I'm right where the juice is
yeah.
starting to like bubble.
So let me ask you something. Are you at the point? Did I leave the MOB yet and I started my own
Yeah.
business?
Yes.
Okay. Are you have you gotten to the point where I do lunch with Roka yet?
I'm like right there.
Okay. So yeah, so once you get there, but yeah, so I am open to love. I'm open to love. Um, in real life, I do have a love interest, um, who was there in the book of Stronger, who is supportive, who's not dysfunctional,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
um, who's absolutely beautiful,
Yeah.
fine. Um, he's amazing, but he's flawed. So I think that's why the trilogy.
Okay. I love it. So
But
basically, we got to backtrack and read free. I mean, free, right?
yeah,
Be stronger, and then be ready and poised for
stronger,
the
stronger
two.
too.
All right, so I'm,
Yeah,
I'm ready. I'm ready. And you said you're gonna pull up with the
yes,
prequel.
so true. Yes,
Like
you
pull
can
up with the prequel.
not. Yes, but I'm gonna task you since we're educators. I'm gonna task you to read up to chapter 16 this week.
Did she just give me a homework assignment?
I'm gonna text you. Like you're gonna need it in your life. Thanksgiving is gonna be hilarious. Just read up to chapter 16. Text me. Let me
Oh,
know.
absolutely. Because I'm serious. I'm gonna go and read some more. Now that I know that it's yes, you gave me just enough to make me like, okay, let me keep going. Which again, I'm already invested, so I gotta find out what's going on.
First interview where someone has asked me about love and if I'm open to it, and you connected the dots. So that's great. Great interviewing skills.
Oh well, thank you. Coming from a journalist slash Obama fellow, I appreciate that.
Yes.
So with that, I mean, when your next trilogy comes out, you have to come back on the show and tell us all about it. And I one day, hopefully, because I select guests who I love personally and I enjoy having a conversation. Maybe one day you can come back on and we can really delve into the art of writing and maybe help some of our sisters or young people who have a storyteller on the inside of them, help them figure out how to get that out. But we can't fit it all in one show. So maybe that's going to be part two of Brandy coming on Art Loves Fashion.
I would love to. Thank you so much, Sharonda. I love your show.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
definitely gonna get. I like the green. Is it called green or is it teal for Ivy? What is it? Ivy Park, the Ivy Park wear. It's
The
green.
second one? Her-
Yeah, the second one. I think it's like green, kind of tealy.
Yeah, it's cute. Yeah.
I placed my order for one piece, so
Uh-oh.
I'll let you know.
Very good. You got to tag me and say, Sharonda told me to try it out.
Okay.
So I will talk to you again very, very soon. I thank you again for sharing your Sunday with me. I had an amazing time. Again, follow Brandy on her social medias. I'm author entrepreneur Brandy on Instagram. Go to Amazon and get a copy of her book Stronger, and see what's going on between Dream and Kenya. And you all have a beautiful rest of the week. Thank you for tuning in to Art Loves Fashion. I'll see you again next Sunday at 5:10 for Art Loves Fashion.
Take care. Peace.
Welcome to Art Loves Fashion. I'm your host, Sharonda Irving. I'm an image consultant, professional developer, art curator and collector, a wife and a mom. This show, Art Loves Fashion, is about, you guessed it, art, love, and fashion. We'll be meeting new people, trying interesting things, and hopefully learning something new. Sounds kind of vague, right? That's because I want you to join me on Sundays at 5 o'clock as we take a journey of all things creative and beautiful with art, loves, fashion.